Good morning. Town hall meeting is starting in 30 seconds. All right, good morning. This is the second town hall meeting, and I basically, this week, the email went out with a cover letter, the bios of who's running for council, and the meeting agenda for next Sunday, the annual meeting, and then the proposed spending plan that we're taking. Any questions about anything? So if you have any questions. Mike?
No questions. I just like how everything was laid out. The financial, the explanation was really helpful.
Thank you. Thank you, Kismet. Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad. All right.
So you're asking for questions now about the...
You bet. You bet.
So I was just curious to know, looking at the statements, two things that were missing were the actual numbers on general income for pledges and then other gifts. And I was wondering what those actual numbers were for 2024.
Well, this was based, okay. Do we have actual giving for the, what actually came in?
Well, what actually came in is $512,712. There was a one-time special gift, I think, of $30,000. We are not currently tracking pledges to actual giving. I think that's something we'd like to do. You get a statement, certainly, and it tells you, hey, you pledged this, and this is how much you have, but we're not doing a tracking. Our new software has some capabilities, which we are investigating to see how we might do that. The current software does some weird things, like there's two of you in your family, for instance. Well, we have to put you separately, and then it just does some funky things from reporting. Does that answer your answer your question?
Jody, I didn't hear what you said. Kismet was still talking.
In our current database, the base teams that we're using, there is actually not even a spot for us to enter the pledges.
The pledge
Yeah, so
tracking is
that's all I'm
separate
saying.
from the giving system.
Yeah, I'm just kind of wondering how actual giving comported with what was anticipated for the year. Kind of get a sense for trending and so on.
Mid-year statements go out saying, if you haven't, here's your mid-year statement. If you're behind, please catch up, that kind of thing. But yeah, we just don't have the ability through 2024 to track that.
So the question I'm asking is really around the composite.
Yeah, so if you add the 512 and the 8, right, it's about 521,000 was our total giving, not including miscellaneous income, which is primarily grants and whatnot. And then you take out the 30,000 one-time special gift. We were less than what we budgeted for.
In 2020, for 2024, there were 82 that pledged, and then in this year, 80. So I thought we did really well because we only changed 2, and who knows, again, we can't track who that was or whatever. And the dollars were only about 4,000 different.
So pretty stable.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Thank you, everyone. Other questions? Yeah. Okay, Tim, go for it.
Go ahead, Tim.
We're all here, we're comfortable, go ahead.
Doesn't have to be about the budget. You can ask about other stuff too, Tim.
Yeah, no, well, I just looked at it. So, you provided some explanation around the pastoral salary line. But in as much as they're aggregated into one, you can't really tell what's happening in terms of compensation for each individual on staff. Nor is it possible, given the fact that some money was taken out for Luis not going into this next year. Anyway, it's kind of a hodgy-podgy, figure there. I was just curious to know, what do those figures represent in terms of each, and what did
Yeah.
we do in terms of the increase in compensation for each? There's no indication of that.
Pastor Chris got a 3% raise over what her salary was last year. And, so this is reflecting her salary to come and without Luis's in there, because it's just
And
two
Bernie,
pastors.
And Bernie.
And so,
Oh, it's, and Bernie's, he did not get a raise, right.
the tradition of the congregation is to report them in aggregate as opposed to each.
Yeah, we do this rolled up. We do this rolled one-page version. It's been the very traditional format. We cleaned it up a little bit. Going into the new system, we're going to have a lot more reporting options. Certainly, anyone can ask for detail, and we can run detailed reports. I think in the I can't remember if in the other income, when the annual report package comes out, there is more detail in that package, I believe. Is there not?
Usually,
The income and expense?
the annual report will just have the spending plan,
No,
but you can put,
no, it had the balance sheet and
not
the
every
income.
year.
Well, the one I looked at from last year
Okay.
had the balance sheet and an income and expense report. But there's no reason why we can't give them more years if they want.
Yeah.
I mean, people, this is their money.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's nothing that prevents us from sharing those details, right? It's just easier to get it on one page. Yeah. Keep going.
Yep. Hi.
We just want to get some questions.
Yeah. John, David, Nancy, Cheryl, any questions?
You guys did good.
I'm just going by the back row. All right. Tim, you're up.
So, if we get to the miscellaneous income figure, I think there's, let's see, a lot about that in explanation. The miscellaneous income, it speaks about initial offering contributions, rental income, and interest income. It's interesting to look at, to see if the plan for 2024 was at 100,000, the actual was 37, but
Up.
next year we're planning 55, so it's kind of hard to get a handle on.
The 100,000 was grants, and it wasn't deposited and reported that we knew exactly what the grants were. We're doing a better job coming up. So that was grants that paid a lot of Luis's salary too.
So the 100,000 was grants,
Anticipated grants.
Yeah.
that included anticipated grants, because the total was expected to 100, but what we actually took in was 38. Is that right?
Other than grants.
Yeah.
I think I just want to also say that we've learned a lot about grants now that we've had a bunch of them, and we haven't recorded everything the way we could have, so that we would have better reconciliation at the detail level of the grants to the expending. And one of the big things that Bob and the finance team that picked this new system have been working on is cleaning up our processes and our accounts so that we can actually record the grants, we can record the use of the grants, and we can capture where we charge the grants to. Because what happened is some of our expenses got charged to our regular operating expenses instead of back against the grant. And it's just because, we have an antiquated system, but we learned a lot. And this budget process, we learned a lot too, so,
That was kind of my point, that when
yeah.
so many things are thrown into an aggregate and there isn't specificity around
Yeah.
Source and use, it becomes difficult to plan, I would think.
Yeah, and that's one good reason for us to go to this other new system, because we're getting a clean slate. We've created a whole new chart of accounts. We've created processes for tracking these different types of funds, regular income versus, designated funds versus grants, and I think we'll have way better reporting next year. Bob has a comment. Should I take it?
Comment what you said, Tim. What we tried to do is record the grants in 2024, but when we did, they all went into income. So they were not considered as funds set aside for committed
To a specific
projects.
project, yeah.
But under the new system, we treat them as equity accounts, and they are not part of our operating income and expense.
No.
And we can do that now, and that will be shown in 2025. And we can do it properly when 26 budget is prepared for you. You'll be able to see that in a different light.
Wow.
And we did not have that before.
Yeah, that's great, thank you, Bob.
Okay.
I was gonna say, when you see a change in miscellaneous income, one thing to remember is we had a school that was renting space for us that pulled out last year. So you see that in those numbers, you can have great fluctuation when we have a renter who pulls out, and then, we've got other things that have come in. We've changed the whole process for use of the facilities, so we have a more standard process, everybody signing the same form, all the groups that use our campus.
So you see that in the FAQs, that number one was about what all is in that line.
Right, yeah, it just doesn't show like the percentages.
Okay, so when we look for grants, we're looking for them for specific projects, things like that?
Yeah.
And then, okay, so, what are some of the projects that you wanna do in 2025 that we'll be looking for grants?
Staff has been challenged with that. So there'll be, and Jan is running the grant writing team. And we're looking at, every grant has a reason. It can't go to salaries, most of them, they can't, that kind of thing, except for the ones that the ELCA gave for Luis. But otherwise, we'll be looking at specific projects, programs, and what grants fit that.
So I can just give you, I'll give you an example. One of the requests we had for the budget this year was $4,000 to refurbish handbells. After going through, our anticipated income and the increases in some of the expense areas that we're anticipating, around electricity, gas, and upkeep and those kinds of things, we decided that we couldn't fund that under normal funding, and so we can either use our memorial funds, which were gifts given to us to be used for special purposes, or we can go after a grant. So we're going to try to go after a grant. If we don't get the grant, we're going to request the use of memorial funds. So that's the kind of examples. Like the thing that we're doing in Casa Grande, trying to kick off their theology group and do some work there. As you know, Chris is at Crossroads today. We sourced grants when we were doing Santa Trinidad and that sort of thing with First. So some of the things haven't been dreamed up yet. And things are going to come up, and then we will search for grants rather than using our general income. Let her finish.
What I was looking for is areas where you look for those grants, or what kind of, just, okay, is it gonna be more community oriented, is it gonna, what kind of areas are you looking at?
It just depends on what comes up.
Our research has been that a lot of them are community-based, feeding people, housing people, anything that, what one of them's called Nourishing Neighbors, that kind of thing. So definitely, the programs that we are interested in, our outreach programs already look at those areas. And now we'll have a whole binder of grants and things that we can then say, ooh, this one would give that. But, and you know, Chris is always thriving cards. And that's hard to track because we don't know how many we get, but we need to do a better job with that too, of what we are funding through thriving cards.
I was gonna say one thing related to grants that is not ELCA related. This past summer, when Pastor Chris had for sabbatical, that was funded by Eli Lilly. And Mark and the team of people had got together and written a grant that covered the meal we had when she got back, it covered the books we had, it covered the relief pastors while she was gone. So the idea that it didn't cost the congregation for her to take that trip. Now, we didn't know that we were definitely getting that money when she first put in for it. But these grants come in sometimes right after the budget has occurred. So being able to chart in the budget that we know we're getting this grant for that doesn't exist in the time that we want it to exist, and then all of a sudden it's approved. And Pastor Chris going away for 90 days didn't cost us anything. It was, Eli Lilly decided to pay for the whole deal. Because the team, Mark and others, did a great job writing the grant.
Most grants have a deadline. You know, they want applications in March or April and then in the fall. Some are all year round, that you could apply for at any time, but most of them have either semi-annual or annual deadlines. So you've got to know ahead of time. So we're moving towards this. Yeah.
I think one thing we have to always be aware that you see a lot of stuff we do around here. Not all of that is underwritten by you. Not all of that is underwritten by gifts from members of the congregation. In order to do a number of things we do, we go to Thriving cards, we go to grants, we go to those kind of things. So I just want you to be aware. And if I could get back to your concern about aggregate pastor salaries, I'll be very honest with you. I make $25,000 a year. I get no benefits or anything like that. So you can take that out of that aggregate, and then you'll then you'll know. But that's where I am, and I'm part-time at 20 hours a week. Sometimes it's more. And I did get a little extra when Chris was on sabbatical, so for that. So I just wanted everybody to know that.
Thank you, Bernie.
So a question related to what you just noted is, synods will put together a chart that defines what is in accord with synodical guidelines for compensation, according to number of years and all the rest of it. And I don't know how that applies to the guys.
Doesn't
like you,
apply to retired.
But for Chris, so, as a retired clergy person, I'd like to ask how the current or anticipated compensation relates to the guidelines. Synod guidelines, right. Is it above, the same, below? Just, so it's a question about how do we treat our staff?
As far as I know, I'm going to probably say Chris is at guidelines. Whatever that, I don't know that for certain. She's the only one who can answer that question. That would be my assumption.
So it wasn't part of council deliberation?
I don't know.
We did, each of the last few years, look at things, and I think there might have been one year where there was a 5% raise, the other year, the full-timers got 3%, which was included this year. I know we looked at the guidelines very closely when we were looking to call Luis before the change where he ended up spending most of the time at first, but we knew this is the range we had to offer him. We couldn't go higher or lower. It would be outside the guidelines. So those guidelines we are, I know we looked at it very closely in his call process. I believe Pastor Chris is in the range.
We have a personnel committee that deals with that.
Employee relations is
Personnel
Mike,
relations, okay.
Sandy, Lean, and marketing.
Okay.
Yeah, so I made a note about that to
Yeah,
make sure
we'll
include
have
that
that.
as part of our process.
Okay, just curious.
Yeah, that's a good question, great question, thank you.
Does the pastor's salary
Yeah, there would, I could look up, we could get the specific mileage amount. Actually, we could get the housing too. Housing, we have an outside person do our payroll. And housing is part of their salary. It's just taxed differently. So as far as the dollars from the church is concerned, it's not any different. She breaks it out for their tax purposes.
For the budget, like all those things are included, or if it's just,
It is included.
It is included. Housing is included, mileage is included. We pay $60 a month toward her cell phone.
Really? Okay, let's see.
Oh, sorry, Bernie.
she gets social security offset as well.
Yes,
Portion she has to.
Social Security, pension. It's, some of it, the pension and the medical, life insurance falls under benefits.
Sandy, do you want to add something?
No, that I see at the,
Yeah.
So all of that stuff that normally is included, it's just, we don't break, that could be broken down possibly in, with the new software, some of that stuff.
At one time, they did break out the housing allowance here, but some years past, they combined it under salary. I mean, it's not, I don't know how common it is anymore that there's a parsonage.
I can
Yeah,
tell
yeah.
you in certain communities, certain congregations, I know that my housing allowance was always broken out because we had to declare what that was as far as taxable or not. You see, housing allowance for pastors are not taxable for income.
Right.
They are taxable for Social Security, but not for income.
I know that I'm the person who does our income tax. And the church budget, where it broke down, like for the past year, like, this is how much we actually, this was what was mileage. He had a auto allowance and not a reimbursement for mileage. And then we had to keep track of how many miles he drove and how much of that we then had county's income and how much was not taxable. And, like what, we had lived in places where we didn't have parsonage, right? So then part of the salary was housing allowance. Those numbers, and I'm sure that Chris can get a report of that for herself.
I mean, we have to report it for the payroll system so that we can report it out properly and give her the right
Right.
statement at the end of the year.
That's what she needs.
And I have, the mileage, Pastor Chris and Pastor Bernie and Pastor Lewis reimburse, they give me
How many miles they drove.
and they're very,
But they don't have to deal with all that.
they don't give me a lot.
No,
I'm sure they drive way more.
you wait till the end of this one.
Now you.
Mike, did you have something else?
I was gonna say that, at each council meeting, we get like a 10 to 12-page, financial report that does break things down in a lot more detail, but, giving the whole congregation 10, 12 pages of financial information for most people is, considered a waste of paper. We respect the fact that some people want a little bit more information and have a right to that, and we're willing to share. Outside this meeting, somebody wants to come and look at the books, it's not there's no secrets in there.
Other questions? Well, we'll have our annual meeting next Sunday, 11:15-ish, right after the 10 o'clock service, and lots of business. You got that agenda, so we'll be looking at council, endowment, nominees, the vision plan, just a brief explanation of what we've been working on this past year. Thanks to David. What?
Video.
Oh, there'll be a video of the past year, yeah.
And people can also look at the little mini kitchen.
Yes, we'll have a dedication of the patio kitchen between services. Lots to do next Sunday, so see you all then, I guess. Anything else before we close?
So did you provide those sheets today, or was that in our email, or how was?
It was in the bulletin.